I've been looking for a more comfortable way to heat the RV when we're out dry camping and just living off of our batteries. We have an onboard propane furnace, and we've used the little buddy and the big buddy heaters as well. And I've looked at other propane options. What I ultimately decided to install was a different kind of heater. Webasto is the name of the company. They're a German company that makes these for all kinds of different vehicles. You'll see them a lot in semi-trucks that run off of diesel. They provide plenty of heat, but they run off of your diesel fuel tank. Now, I've found one that's going to actually run off of gas or petrol, since our RV is a gas coach. And the nice thing about this heater is that it really sips gasoline, and unlike a propane heater, it doesn't create any excess humidity inside the RV. It's very dry heat, and I can run it through the night, and there's really no concern about fumes or anything like that that you might be thinking of when you talk about installing some sort of extra propane heater. It's certainly different than a propane heater because it runs off of gasoline, so I got to tap into a fuel source, and I need to run an exhaust line. I've got this set up and tested here inside before I take it out to the RV. And I'll show you where I'm going to install it and how I'm going to drill a hole through the floor to get this guy installed in the RV and get it all hooked up. Well, it turns out that these Webasto heaters are not that easy to find here in the US without going directly to a distributor and having them install it and all that. But when I was doing my research, a lot of the folks seemed to be referencing this HeatSo website, and I found them, and they had a lot of different heaters like this, but they're based in the UK. So I got a little impatient and found an entire kit that had everything I needed, including this newer, nicer control unit that I wanted, and I ended up ordering it on Amazon. I was hoping to sit down and go through the book and read everything, but all I could do is look at the pictures, which is typically what I do anyway. But the instructions were all in Russian. I found an English version in a PDF that I was able to download and print out. So that wasn't a big deal. There was a few things that I still needed that didn't come with my kit. This Y connector for the ducting, because I was going to run two different vents. I ended up ordering some additional ducting. It's kind of an oddball size. It's like a 2.5-inch duct, and I still needed to adapt it to this 3-inch vent that's in my cabinet. I also ordered a Webasto muffler. Did not come with the original kit, but it's an optional item. And I've been working on this exhaust hanger setup and figuring out where exactly I'm gonna mount that. But yeah, it makes it nice and super quiet. I also picked up some extra exhaust tubing because I'm gonna run it a little further than the 1 meter of nice stainless exhaust tubing that it came with. So that was extra too, but I think I have everything I need now, and I was able to put it all together, test it here, and I think I'm pretty much ready to take what I've got set up and install it in the RV. So this is where I plan to mount the heater, right here. I took out all the ductwork that was already here. The intake will come in this way, and the vent, or the hot air, can go out here where the two output vents are going to be. So it's going to work out really well. I'm going to drill a 4-inch hole right here through the bottom, right down the center here, and it's about a 2-inch gap or so to get through the floor. So it is now day 2 of this project. I got a bit of a late start yesterday, so I wasn't able to get as much done as I had hoped. And by the time I was hooking everything up underneath the RV, it started to get dark on me. So I was still able to get most of it done with a little headlamp on in the dark until my headlamp battery started running low, and that was pretty much it. But let me show you how far I got and how it's all set up. I went ahead and just mounted a piece of plywood here, and I painted it with some undercoating spray paint and mounted it here, so that made it a lot easier to secure the fuel filter and the fuel pump and everything in this spot and keep it fairly protected. There's a metal piece here that runs over the drivetrain and all that stuff, so it keeps most of the road debris out of this area. Alright, so I was able to actually tap into the fuel line from the fuel tank. So my main fuel tank is actually back there, but this is the line that actually went to my generator. Now, if you're familiar with some of my past videos, I removed my generator, but I left the fuel line. So I basically just cut it, and I hooked it into this valve in case I ever want to just turn off the heater. So it transitions to this smaller fuel line here. This is now going to go into my fuel filter and the fuel pump. And from there, the fuel pump is powered up into here. On the other side of this floor here is the heater. And you can say here's the intake here. So the combustion intake is here, and then the exhaust comes out here. Now, since all of the connections actually are way up in this hole, there's about a 2 to 2.5 inch gap between this point and the floor where the heater's mounted. Now, I know I wouldn't be able to get in there and actually fasten most of those clamps and stuff in there, so I hooked everything up ahead of time before inserting it on and mounting it onto the floor. So everything's pretty much connected before I put it in place. And another thing I did was to put some heat shield here just around the inside, since there is that gap in there of about 2.5 inches of styrofoam and some wood. I just wanted to make sure that it was nice and protected against this exhaust line here. Well, I'm going to finish routing the exhaust line here and get that all mounted, and then I'll head back inside and finish up the wiring and the ductwork inside the cabinet.
Stick my head in the door. I thought you were in there.
Oh.
Working on your toilet or what?
No. Installing a new heater. Not totally hooked up yet, but it's functional.
Getting close.
Hear that noise? Yeah, the heater's running. So I just fired it up just a few minutes ago, and it's actually already raised the temperature in here about 5 degrees, so that's pretty impressive. I think this is going to work out perfectly. And it's pretty much running at 100% right now. It's pulling about 2.2 to 2.4 amps right now, so that's pretty darn good. Now, instead of running the power cables all the way back to the DC distribution panel, what I ended up doing is just splicing into the power coming into the propane furnace that's already pretty close to this location. So that worked out. It was a lot easier to do that, and I don't think I had enough cable anyway. I would have had to add some more, and then just running all that cable through the cabinets is always just a pain in the butt. Well, this little control unit here is nice and compact, so it fit nicely in this panel here. But you know, running that cable through this cabinet to this spot was a bit of a challenge. Thanks to my new little borescope that actually made that possible. It was really complicated without it. I ended up splitting the output of the heater to go to two separate vents, and I just picked up a Y connector that's hooked up back here, and it just sends the heat in this direction and also back in this direction. I also replaced the vent here that was already installed with one that actually has a valve on the front that I can close. Now my plan is to be able to close this one at night and then just use this one that's kind of pointed towards the sleeping area while we're sleeping at night. So I'll just set the temperature on low, and hopefully that'll make it really comfortable at night. I'm still trying to get the temperature dialed in, but I think I've got it. It's really close, because the temperature sensor itself is actually on the intake of the heater and not here. So you'll notice when it first fires up, it just pulls in a little bit of air to sense the temperature and then sets up the heater accordingly. And then it just slowly ramps up to the speed of the fan. And that's actually a nice feature that I think is going to be a game changer for this heater, is that it's constantly adjusting the speed of the fan and the temperature to regulate the heat. So when it's blowing in a lot of heat, you know, it's at max, and then once it gets close to the target temperature, it slows the fan speed down and it's just kind of maintaining that temperature. So I'm really looking forward to using it and experimenting with that. So far I'm liking what I'm seeing, because the original LP heater, it's got one giant fan in there that blows at full speed. It's like you know, like super hot, and then it gets cold and then blows more super hot air. So I'm not going to miss that much at all. Now I hope you got something out of this project and you like this this mod. Let me know. I look forward to hearing your thoughts and suggestions and questions in the comments section, and I'll also link to all of the extra parts and stuff that I had to pick up for this project, and I'll put those in the description as well. So I look forward to seeing you in the next video if you are a subscriber to the channel, and if not, you know, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. So take care, and I will see you in the next one.